Welcome back to my channel, guys. So I know, or you guys should know, that I promised that I would make a video about, why I bought a car with 90,000 miles. I was supposed to buy in a car with, anywhere from, they're roughly around 40,000 miles, yeah, I'd say roughly about there. You have, your choices between anywhere from, say, 30 something thousand miles to about 90,000 miles is the average 4S that's listed. So I will start with one thing before I get to that. I must recommend that, you own this car or any Porsche, aside from the oil change, I would highly recommend that anything that you do to your car, whether it's an alignment, brake flushes, aside from changing like simple things like the rotors and the brakes, but anything that is a little bit more intricate, that takes a little bit more skill or precision, I would highly recommend going to the dealer. Reason why I would recommend going to the dealer is because, so for instance, I took this car into Porsche South Shore to get an alignment. I did have an alignment on it before, but, and I'm being straight up, I paid like $90 to get the alignment. And the alignment was, honestly speaking, I don't know what they did, because it didn't feel to me as if anything was done. So I was still unhappy with that result. And, I said, okay, you know what, let me take it to the dealer, because obviously it's a four-wheel drive Porsche, and who else is going to know how to get this thing right than the dealer themselves? So I took the car in. I paid I have another video where I explain that. I paid a couple $100s for it. And to be honest with you, it is the best alignment I have ever had on any automobile I've ever owned. I'm honest, like I drove this car and I'm driving it and it feels like a brand new car. Like literally the way these guys banged it out, it's like this car feels so amazing. Like everything is in sync. The steering wheel, you feel everything, goes over bumps well. All the tires are positioned properly. So the car feels like one. I cannot, more than anything else, recommend that any alignment you get done on your Porsche, take it to the dealership. If it costs you $400, $500 at max, take it to the dealership. It's worth every single penny. Do not cheap the car down and take it to some, run-of-the-mill shop, or some people might be watching this like, oh well, I've got a guy who knows. Trust me, I have a guy who knows, and it still was not done like a Porsche dealer could do a Porsche. Even though my BMWs, when I take my BMWs to get an alignment, I take those into the dealerships, because cars like this, there's certain things that, that needs to be adjusted in certain ways that a normal shop that just has a normal machine is going to throw your car on it, and they're just going to treat your car like they would treat, a M3, or they would treat, I don't know, a 328 or 335. Like this is a Porsche. First off, the rear wheels on this car is 295s, so it takes a skilled technician to know how to get these cars in line to the way they're supposed to be done. And I'm telling you, I cannot profess enough. Take your car to the dealership. That is the theme of this video. Take your car to the dealership. Whatever needs to get done, take your car to the dealership. I'm honestly going to take this car to the dealership for everything minus an oil change, because an oil change is pretty simple. You just pop the plug on the bottom, you drain the oil, you change the filter, the screws and the washer, and then you fill back up. That's pretty simple. There's no reason for me to pay, $200-300 for that. Anyway, so take your car to the dealership. Brake flushes, brake pad changes, whatever it is, take your car to the dealership. If it's tires, if it's rotation, if it's balancing, take your car to the dealership. Trust me, you will not regret it. Sometimes it's better to pay, you might say, okay, well, I can get the tires done and I can go to, Pet Boys or whatever. It's a Porsche, okay? The tires, the balancing, all of that, the rotation, not rotation on this car because you can't really do that, but the balancing, take it to the dealership. Do yourself a favor. You will not regret it. I spent a couple $100 on an alignment, brake flush. I mean, it was more than a couple $100, but the alignment itself was a couple $100. You know, I will, believe me, if I knew what I was getting, and if they said to me, okay, this is gonna be, you know, $380, 900, I mean not 900, but you know, $400, honestly, I would fork the money over. I'd fork the money over than going to pay $80 and get an alignment that my steering wheel feels like it's doing something different from my wheels, because that's how the last one was. I mean, this alignment, this car feels like it literally just rolled off the import shift, okay, from Port Centrum. That's how it feels, and I cannot profess enough, go to the dealer. Now back to the other side of the video. Reason why I decided to buy a car with 90,000 miles as opposed to a car with 40,000 miles. I've been researching 4Ss for about a year and a half, 2 years. I've been watching review videos. I've been reading forums, owners, and things like that. You know, people talked about IMS. People talked about the I forgot the bore scoring and all these things. So, and by the way, I just did an oil change on her day before yesterday. Took the filter out and everything looks a-okay. I'm not gonna jinx myself, I'm just saying that right now. Everything looks a-okay. There's no metal chips, there's nothing. The car is absolute. Even my mechanic was just like, wow, because he has a Porsche too. And he was like, wow, I mean, you got yourself a really good car. This car is in like excellent condition, mechanical wise, body wise, paint wise, you know. I just still got to do like, you know, a really good detail on this car. Anyway, so a lot of the cars that I saw that were like anywhere from say 35,000 miles to about, let's just say 60,000 miles, 65,000 miles. A lot of those cars didn't have the IMS done, didn't have the RMS done. You know, some of them are now coming up with that. Those cars, here comes some tractors. They're gonna ruin my shot, but that's all right. But so a lot of those lower mileage cars, one of the things that, you know, my mechanic, who's a Porsche mechanic, said to me also was, you know, a lot of these cars, you know, that are 40,000 miles, you got to think about something here, right? Let me just pause my video for a second while these tractors go through. You got to think about something, right? 2004, because I was looking for a 2004 anywhere to a 2005, mainly looking for a 2004. So basically, the thing is, the lower mileage cars to me, you know, is when I test drove a lot of them, you got to think, you know, a car from 2004 or 05 with 40,000 miles. The car is pretty much a garage queen, you know, and, you know, people can agree and disagree. 40,000 miles for 04, 05, that's a garage queen. And still, even though if they have the IMS done, the RMS done, and, you know, and there's no bore scoring and all these things, you have to keep in account that a garage queen car with 40,000 miles, you know, there's hoses and there's things in the car and wiring and things like that, you know, a lot of these things need a workout. That's why in the Porsche manual, Porsche recommends that you drive this car regularly. They don't recommend that you put this car away. In the Porsche catalog, if you read it, it tells you, drive your car regularly. Do not put it on a regular basis. Do not put it away or store it, because you're not doing the car a favor. You know, because a lot of these things, they need to get worked out. So, you know, I'm not saying that this is an absolute case, but to me, a lot of those lower mileage cars, what I did not want to happen is, you know, these cars aren't driven often. So then the minute me as a person who will be driving the car, and this is the main reason, you know, of course I do take care of my cars, and especially this car, I take care of it. Everything is sorted out. I don't let anything, I mean, I just did an oil change, you know, less than maybe 3,000-4,000 miles ago, and I just did another one because it's getting colder. But, you know, so for a person like me who's going to drive the car on a regular basis, you know, what I did not want was a lower mileage car that hasn't been through its paces, and then as I start to drive it on a regular basis, then I'm going to have, you know, potentially issues. You know, who knows, brake lines could, you know, go, you know, because the car hasn't been driven, it hasn't been used over and over and over again. So that's why I made sure that for me personally, I went with a higher mileage car, because for me, this car was driven. You know, the previous owner, you know, they drove and if you think 91,000 miles on a 2004 car, that's still not a lot of miles if you break it down throughout the years. But at least I know that this car was driven, you know, and it's been performing fantastic. So to make a long story short, for me as a driver, why I chose a higher mileage car was because of the fact that, you know, I did not want to experience or try not to experience the things that I read on forums that are happening with a lot of the lower mileage cars. So when I got this car, everything was sorted, IMS, RMS, no bore scoring issues, clutch was brand new, I still have a clutch sitting around, nothing wrong in the body panels, tires are new, car's performing fantastic. So for me, it gave me a peace of mind than to get a lower mileage car that doesn't have any of these things done. And on top of that, potentially you can experience more problems down the line because this car has been sitting around, and then here you come, a guy who's driving this car on a regular basis, and this car hasn't been through its paces, and then potentially something else might go wrong. So that's why I chose a higher mileage car that was well sorted as opposed to a lower mileage car. And it had nothing to do with money, because at 91,000 miles, the money that I spent for this car, I could have easily maybe put another $2,000, maybe at max another $3,000 on it, and gotten a car that was like 34,000 miles or 40,000 miles, because it's not that big of a price difference in mileage. So there you have it. Thanks guys. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you to every single one that is supporting me, that is subscribing to my channel, that watches my videos, that takes the time. This is out of pure love. I'm not trying to, obviously it would be great to have a lot of subs, but or video views, but this is out of pure love. All right, like, subscribe, and share.